Hi everyone, my name is Frank. I go to Lindbergh High School and I'm a rising sophomore. So for my starter project, I made this Simon Says game. And it might seem like there's a lot on the front, but actually most of the brains in this case is actually on the backside. As you can see, we have this little black thing across the top, which is actually an Atmega 328 microcontroller, which actually contains all the code and basically all the brains that actually drives this entire board. Also on the back side we have a few things. Let's start with this tiny little resistor you might be able to see in the corner. This is just a simple resistor tied across this chip's reset pin. And basically what the reset pin does is if you bring it high and you bring it low, then the chip restarts and then starts back executing its code again. So that's basically what kind of happens when you power it on at first. Other than that, over in the corner we have these two tiny little capacitors, and both of these, one is tied to the reset pin like this resistor, and the other one is tied directly to ground. And what that basically does is these serve to basically clean up the signals that are coming in or going out of the microcontroller. Since digital signals, they can either be low or high. You're either expecting 5 volts or 0 volts. Sometimes though, when the chip is working on the inside, these voltages can have tiny fluctuations, and so these capacitors just serve to flatten those fluctuations out. Also on the back side, fairly obvious black thing over here, we have a Piezoelectric buzzer. It just makes sounds, and this is obviously driven by the microcontroller. Okay, moving to the front, obviously we have the two battery holders. We have this giant rubber button pad in the middle, which has 4 buttons, and this is obviously the main user control of the game. Each of these 4 rubber buttons has a little little carbon contact on the bottom that presses one of 4 metal pads on the bottom that just connects the circuit and tells the microcontroller, hey, this guy is pressing a certain button. So yeah, that's about it for that. Otherwise, underneath each of these 4 rubber buttons, there's also an LED. Each of them has different colors, and obviously they're also just driven by the microcontroller. Finally, on the bottom here, we have these 2 switches. There's one that says power and one that says sound. So obviously this one that says power goes to directly disrupts the circuit from the battery to the rest of the board. And then for the sound one, it's just a switch for this this buzzer on the back. Either turns it off or on depending on whether you want sound or not. Yeah, other than that, that's about it for the circuitry, and I can give you a quick demo. So if we turn this on, you'll notice that it might be kind of hard to see, but it starts flashing all 4 colors, and then the entire objective of the game is so that it shows you a pattern, and then you try to memorize it as much as you can and repeat that pattern. And so I'm gonna press the button and start one game. Okay, and so as you can see, wait, can we pause slightly? So now I'm gonna show you guys a quick demo. So obviously we can turn the power on, and yeah, there's some sounds, and you'll notice that it just starts flashing. This is its idle state, and basically the objective of the game is it's going to continuously show you longer and longer patterns, and your goal is to try to memorize them and repeat them. So let me show you what I mean. So first we're going to start a game by pressing any button, and then ask me to press blue, so I'll press blue, and it's blue, red. And you can see how the game kind of progresses on. And basically, this pattern will get longer and longer until you either wait or input a incorrect sequence, and then it does the flash and it goes back to its idle state. So that's pretty simple, and you can turn on and off the sound as mentioned before. Yeah. In this project, I think one of the things I enjoyed about building this project was yeah, I got a lot more. I got to actually learn how to solder. Before, I didn't really have any experience doing things like soldering, and I had only ever watched videos, and I didn't think I could be able to solder that well after all this being my first time. But actually, with Matthew's help and some other instructors' help, I actually found I was able to solder pretty well, especially with the soldering of this large microchip, as you can see here. There was a lot of pins to do here. Yeah, so overall, I'm actually pretty surprised I was able to solder that well, and also it is pretty fun. But also that was also one of the places where I feel like I did have to struggle. There were a lot of components to solder, and to be honest, the solder doesn't smell that great. So yeah, so that was one thing. Yeah, but otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how this project turned out.